Welcome back to Engineering Economics. This is going to be our last video for Chapter 8. I know we're always sad to see every chapter end, but we are going to do kind of our biggest, most comprehensive example so that we can put everything together and just see kind of the ugliest it can possibly be. Okay, so the following information is for 5 mutually exclusive alternatives that have 20-year useful lives. The decision maker may choose any one of the options or reject them. Prepare a choice table. Okay, so once again, we're not told a specific analysis type to use, but because they all have the same design life, to me that lends itself toward a present worth analysis. So that's where we're going to head. So I wrote each of these alternatives down in Excel, and once again, having all the costs as a negative value and each of their equivalent uniform annual benefits. Okay, so now I wrote these as always here, kind of in engineering economic factor speak. And then here I'm going to write that as Excel would have it written. So I'm going to write each of these across this row first, and then I will drag them all down at the same time. Okay, so for net present worth option 1, I'm going to say this is equal to the initial cost and then minus the present value with my interest rate and my number of years. They're all going to be 20. And then my annual benefit, which is a positive value. Okay, so now I'm going to lock my cost of each of these. And just drag it over. Oh, that didn't work very well. What happened? That looks fine. I just have to change my references. Okay, so for each of these, I'm just going to go in and change my cost and my worth. This is so fun, just watching someone else do Excel work all day. One more. It's worth it, I promise, because then you can just drag the whole thing down at the same time. So you can see off to the right, my graph is trying to figure out how to auto-populate. Okay, so now I have, and I know it's so dumb and corny, but if you just take a second and realize how much time we are saving relative to doing this stuff by hand a couple months ago, it's incredible. Okay, so I now have this graph, and the graphs are kind of the basis for everything we're doing in this chapter, right? So this is a net present value versus interest rate. So I have, I don't know what color this is, guys, gray. Uh, that's option A, orange is option B, green is option C, blue is option D, purple is option E. So they're just kind of all over the place. But let's take a second to think about what I really care about. So what I really care about then is this is a net present worth. I want the highest possible net present worth I can get. So realistically, I'm looking at, I just want the top line during every interval. And by every interval, I mean where they cross each other. So if I kind of zoom in a lot here, we can see I'm going to have this green line on top for a little while. Oh, and it looks dark blue zoomed in. Then I'm going to have this dark blue line that's going to be on top for a while. And then this orange line will be on top for the rest of the time. And then all of the lines dip below a present value of 0 at 20%. So we can just say from the beginning that after 20%, I'm not going to do anything, right? I don't want a negative present value. Okay, so I'm going to go through then and create a goal seek table, probably multiple goal seek tables, just for the top few lines of intersection. So I want the green and the blue and find out where they cross. And then I want the dark blue and the orange to see where they cross. I don't really care about anything else, right? I just care about the highest present worth value during any specific interval. So I can kind of guess where these are going to be. This one right here, I would say probably crosses around 2, 2.5. And then this one right here looks like it's going to cross right before 10, maybe at 9 or something. So let's set that up. So I need a goal seek table between option A and option C, and then a goal seek table between option A and option B. So let's go set those up. We set up this goal seek table. You'll notice I have this set up in two parts. So one I call goal seek table 1, and that's going to be between A and C, alternatives A and C, and it's going to be around, we saw that that intersection would be around 2% or 2.5%. So I just said A and C are going to be between 0 and 2. So as I make this piecewise function, it would be between 0 and 2. Okay, so now goal seek table 2 would be between alternatives A and B, and this one then would be between 2 to 10%-ish. Okay, so as you come here, you can compare these values to what I had before, and I'm just catching negative sign errors. So this one is going to be a plus. I think that should also be a plus. This one will be a plus just because I'm adding the cost. I want to make sure those are correct. And I've had some of you comment, can we see those formulas? I'm just using this, so it's going to be my initial cost, which is already a negative, minus my PV. This is the same formula that was up above. So now I'm just using that interest rate, 20 years, and that B17, its absolute referencing up above, is just my equivalent uniform annual benefit. Or I guess not my equivalent, just my uniform benefit. Okay, and then this one would be the same. So it's going to be my initial cost plus converting my uniform benefit to a present value. Okay, and then this is my increment, so it's going to be those two subtracting each other. And once again, because I want them set equal to each other, I'm going to say the difference between the two is equal to 0, which is the same as setting them equal. And this is, I just put in a 0. That cell is referencing B55, and that cell is also referencing B55, which is that first interest rate. Okay, so then these are set up, oh, this says EUAC, this should be NPW. So these two then are the exact same. I'm going to add my initial cost, and it's going to be referencing these values. Okay, so let's come in here and do my goal seek analysis. So I will say, what if goal seek? I'm going to set this cell equal to 0 by changing this cell here. Okay, and then I want to run it, and I get 2 exactly. Okay, so A and C will intersect right at 2. Okay, so that then means, well, we'll go look at the graph in just a second when I'm done with this to interpret. So now let's come to this one. Okay, so I'm going to do goal seek analysis again. I'm going to set that equal to 0 by changing this interest rate. Say okay. Okay, so you see here how I wrote 10-ish, right? I love it, so precise. Okay, so now let's go look at these. So during this first interval, I'm going to have this green line, which is on top. So the green line then corresponds to C. So I'm going to choose C between 0 and 2. Then I have this blue line, which is on top, and that dark blue line is A. So I would choose C, then A, and then the last one is going to be alternative B, which would be on top through, we said that 20. So from 10-ish to 20. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and write all of that in a table. So as I create my choice table, from 0 to 2, I would choose C. 2 to 9.6, I would choose A. 9.6 to 20, choose B. And 20 and beyond, I would do nothing. Okay, so that is what we would respond to our client.